Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Joanne Carpenter from Refuge of Hope. 96,000 meals last year. Sounds like you might be bursting at the seams. I'm hearing rumors of a capital campaign. Any truth to these rumors?
I can affirm, yes.
Oh, and you heard it here first.
The rumors are true. We are just desperately out of space. Our men's shelter has been over capacity for the last 5 or 6 years. Our dining room seats 110 at one time, and we serve over 200 meals consistently throughout the month. Our kitchen is out of space. Our freezers, our refrigerator, our storage, we have no office space. We are just so limited in the services that we can provide because we're just overrun with people. So yes, land has been donated. There's a couple little things that we're working on to finalize that property. It's a couple blocks away from where we're currently located. That's exciting. Mm-hmm. We do have designs for a new building drawn up, and we are in the very early phases of a capital campaign. And as the year goes on, you will be hearing more about that. But we are very excited for the possibility that God has provided for us, that we will adequately be able to serve people all at one time. Read the scriptures and pray with everyone at one time. Have training rooms for our men. Be able to have more Bible studies throughout the day. I mean, we have one for the women before the meal on Tuesday nights. Have adequate places for the National Alliance for Mental Illness comes down and does peer-to-peer groups with us as well. We have a registered nurse who comes down, and they all meet and kind of walk on each other a little bit where they're trying to all provide these services for the men, women, and children that we serve. So not just through our dinner guests, but also the men who stay in our shelter.
So many of our listeners have been incredibly blessed and truly give God the glory for that blessing. They're farmers. They've been, they own cattle. They own, meat. They're growing the fruits and vegetables and so forth. And I'm sure some of them right now are saying, okay, I have this. Now, how do I get it to these people? What is the best way? Where do your donations come from, and how do we get, if we have been just blessed with the kinds of things that you need, what's the best way to get it to you?
Well, the best way is to call Refuge of Hope at 330-453-1785. And then we will best be able to connect you, whether it's a food donation or clothing donation, furniture donation. You know, when we talk about 307 men moving out in the last 3 years, we helped the majority of those men with beds, sofas, dressers, maybe a coffee pot if we had one, donated to us, some coffee cups, silverware, pots and pans, to set up household again.
Right. You have to start over, don't you?
Yeah. So everything that comes into the mission, we really do try to utilize to the best of our ability. And if for some reason we don't have a need for that right now, storage is a problem, we'll certainly seek out another ministry within the city who may have a need, and we can help them out.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So Refuge of Hope, what's the website?
refugeofhope.org.
That couldn't be easier.
Pretty simple.
Okay. To help pay for all of these new expansions and the excitement, you have a banquet coming up, I understand?
We do have a fundraising banquet coming up, and that is just our annual fundraising banquet. This isn't for the capital campaign at this time. It is just to celebrate, and we're doing it a little different this year. We are celebrating the 307 men that moved out of the shelter in the last 3 years.
That's awesome.
And we will have several of them to give their personal testimonies of what that journey looked like for them, from the addictions to the withdrawal to the transformation of their lives and what their lives look like today. We'll also possibly have one that will talk about they didn't have an addiction, but life sent them in a spiral. And sometimes that leads to depression and choices that we're not necessarily proud of that lead you to be homeless as well. So I don't want to give the wrong impression that everybody comes to us has an addiction. That's certainly not the case.
Right.
There are many, many, many different reasons, and we're there to help everyone. And another exciting thing is we hope to have 2 to 3 tables full of some of those men who are still in the area that have moved out to join us for the evening in celebration for their success and the success of the other men who have stayed with us and now moved on and they're living independently.
I would love to hear more about some of them who have left, one of the 307. Can you share a little more deeply somebody's story?
I can. I can share Walter's story. Walter came to us with a crack cocaine. I can't even talk. Crack cocaine addiction. And he will tell you the first breath that he took on that, and when he blew out the smoke, he saw his soul just leave his body. And he just knew that he was instantly addicted. And it took his homes, it took his automobiles, it took his motorcycles, and unfortunately, it took his children. He was so addicted. Walt came to Refuge of Hope to get help. And we were able to help him. And he was able to do the hard work because it comes independently from inside of them to do the hard work, to desire to change. Walt is now a part-time employee with Refuge of Hope.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's a night supervisor on the weekends, and he is able to directly relate to some of the men who may be struggling with addictions or even just poor choices. He is also has another part-time job. He's reconnected with his children. He has 3 beautiful grandchildren, just adorable, and he just dotes on them. And his life has been forever changed because he went through a homeless shelter, because he was able to connect with the Lord and do the hard work. Refuge of Hope cannot have all the credit. We're there, and I don't want to downplay our role from the staff and the volunteers, but God is there.
Yeah.
And God touched Walt's heart, and Walt chose to follow the Lord. And therefore, his life has changed forever.
Wow. What about your life, Joanne?
You know what? I am so incredibly blessed. I have the best job in the entire world. I love the people that we serve. I love our dinner guests. I love getting to know the men and their situations and their families. I love serving God through serving others.
Well, I think people want to come to the banquet on April 25th and meet you and meet Walt and hear some of these stories of some of these men. Where and when, again, give me ticket information, all the information we need for the banquet.
Okay, it's pretty simple. April 25th, 6 o'clock at the Hartville Kitchen.
Oh!
It is a fundraising banquet. There is no cost. Reservations can be made by calling the mission at 330-453-1785. Julia or Lou will be able to take your reservation over the phone. We are looking to sell out this year, actually, and have a full house simply just because of the celebration. Everybody wants to be a part of this. So make your reservations early. Again, call 453-1785, ask for Lou or Julia, and they'll be happy to take your reservation over the phone. This is no cost for your dinner or the program, and you will be given an opportunity at the end of the evening to financially support the work that we do at Refuge of Hope.
What's on the menu?
We have this chicken that is delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, they do such a wonderful job with this chicken, and we'll have a wonderful salad and potatoes and vegetable, and of course the famous Hartville pie.
Yay. Okay. Again, April 25th, call 330-453-1785, and going to be celebrating.
Yes.
Tell me more about what all you are celebrating that night.
We're going to celebrate the men, and they are going to feel their success. I mean, they moved out into their own apartments, and that was great. But you have to understand, when you're homeless, you tend to isolate yourself. You've lost contact with friends, family, neighbors, relatives, everybody. And then you come into this dorm setting and the busy mission, and everything is active and moving about, and you stay there for several months. And then you move out, and you're alone again. So we're going to celebrate their success in moving out. We're going to celebrate them staying connected to Refuge of Hope because they still are. Some still come for a meal. They may be living on their own, but that doesn't mean they're financially wealthy and independent.
Right.
They still have some struggles. They still need to know we care about them.
Isn't it true, too? The people coming for that meal may not be homeless at all, just trying to stretch their dollar to make it to the end of the month. So
Exactly.
the working poor might just need a little bit of extra oomph to be able to get through, and this is where you're able to fill in that gap.
Oh, that's exactly true. Physical needs, emotional needs, and spiritual needs are what we try to provide every time someone comes through our door. So if we have a senior citizen that they might be able to make it on their own, but they just need that social,
Yes.
at the end of the day. They really haven't talked to anybody, watch TV over the course of the day. And, maybe their families may be all working. But they know they can come down. And the dining room is active and full. And there's people talking. And the volunteers just love our dinner guests. And so does the staff. And so they get that warm feeling that they're looking for. So you're correct. We do help people stretch their dollars. We do help people feel good about themselves while they're there. And then if they have a particular need, we try to fulfill that for them as well.
Friendships develop, I'm sure.
Oh, they do. Absolutely, they do.
Yes. What about even the friendships between the men who have been in that state and who are residents there for some time? Do they stay in touch with each other at all?
They do. Some of them move into the same apartment building.
Wow.
And if one of them is a little bit more capable than the other, you see them helping each other, coming down to meals. It's interesting. Sometimes we see some of the guys walking downtown, and it's always a pleasure to talk with them and catch up with them. But yes, a lot of the guys stay connected. We have one particular gentleman who used to stay with us, and he is kind of our aftercare person. He follows the guys into their apartments, and he helps them get a lamp or take them to pick up groceries at a food bank or bring them down to the mission, take them to a doctor's office, visit them in the hospital. And that's his ministry. That's his way to give back. He spends his entire week doing that.
Wonderful. Joanne Carpenter, Refuge of Hope. Be sure to get to the April 25th banquet at Hartville Kitchen. Number there is 330-453-1785 for reservations. Go to refugeofhope.org for more information. Joanne, thank you so much for all you're doing in our community.
Thank you, Susie.